DJ Delz, absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
DJ Delz.
Maniacs, here we go. I wasn't going to do this, but we're all sitting at home, you know, we're trying to make the best of everything. I just feel that, like, this temporary situation is going to blow by. Everybody's doing the right thing. Everybody's going to get really, really, really healthy and stay on track. And I think it's going to be a V. I think we're going to take off to greatness one more time. So that being said, we just got done doing arms, me and Ron Howard, and everybody keeps banging on me about The Rock. You know, banging on me about The Rock. You know, 'cause I guess every day he's sitting down with his fans, and a lot of them wrestling fans, and talking about matches and talking about his acting career and really interesting stuff. I mean, I love watching it. But then he talked about Wrestlemania 18, his take on it. And I listened to it, and he's pretty much spot on. But, you know, he's seeing Wrestlemania 18 through The Rock's eyes. You know, you got to see it through my eyes. So, I mean, you got to get both sides of the story, and then somewhere in the middle is what really happened. But he's pretty much spot on. But the weirdest thing was, you know, coming back from WCW, you guys may understand this, but when you're working for Ted Turner, working for AEW, working for any other person, you know, Vince hates competition, and Vince pretty much usually wipes the board clean when he, you know, puts the pedal to the metal stuff. We were with Ted Turner for 10 years, actually coming after Vince, actually trying to put him out of business. So when I went back to the WWF with Nash and Hall, we were not the most liked guys in the dressing room. We had a ton of heat with everybody. So walking into this thing, you know, I talked to Vince, and what The Rock said was spot on. A lot of people didn't want us back, and I totally understand that. If we're trying to put you out of business and take over the world, why would you want three guys coming back in that, you know, we're trying to do that to you? But at the end of the day, one hand washes the other. The wrestling business and competition, we're all the boys. You know, the boys are the boys. So at the end of the day, you know, we came in, and at first people were hesitant, and it was just a tough situation, and that transcended into the match. So before we got to the match, one of the things that The Rock didn't say, or maybe he did say, I don't remember, was that Vince, and The Rock didn't know this, but Vince called me on the phone, and of course, Rock was in control. He was the man. Stone Cold was also in control. He was the man. There were two powerhouses at the time, but I had the chance to work with The Rock, and, you know, Vince on the phone was, "Hey, Hogan, if you're coming back, you better bring it." And I was in my mind thinking, okay, if the Hulkamaniacs are still with me, you know, you might want me to take it back. But I didn't say that, okay? I was just thinking that hopefully if things went my way, you know, things would be cool. So, you know, I've never practiced a match before, but I guess because the guys were kicking in the corner, stomp, 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 a million times in the corner, which we didn't used to do, one kick, and the guy going down selling, really told the story, you know, and things had changed where you get a guy in the corner, you just stomp the holy crap out of him. So the whole work cadence had changed. So when I came back, Vince goes, "Well, you better bring it. You know, it's not like it used to be." I'm thinking, okay, whatever, it'll work. If you got him, you got him. If you're over, you're over. This is how it is. So when I went back, they wanted me to go down to Miami and practice the match. And, you know, Andre is the one that raised me. And his thing was, you know, this is who's going to win or lose, and whatever happens in the match, don't worry. You know, that's kind of his attitude. You either understand that it's an art form, you either understand the cadence, placement, listening with your ear and your heart. It's an art form. You know, you either get it or you don't. You either have it or you don't have it. If you don't have it, then you choreograph everything. You go through the motions, and maybe you get lucky sometimes to have a good match, and maybe sometimes you look like, you know, just a choreographed dance routine. But they asked me to go down to Miami, and out of respect, I said, yeah, I'll go down, because I had all the respect in the world for The Rock and his dad, so, and for Vince, of course. And one of the guys that was going to be down there was Pat Patterson, who helped break me in, and I love Pat to death. So I went down there, and The Rock had a great idea of what he wanted to do with the match, and kind of like walk me through it. And I went, okay, that's cool, but in my mind I'm thinking, well, if this doesn't work, you know, what are we going to do? Keep doing this if it's not working? And you know, then I remember a couple of times, The Rock's dad, Rocky, was outside. He goes, listen to Dwayne, listen to Hogan. Just a couple of times he said it. It was pretty funny. Dwayne, listen to Hogan, you know, and they wanted me to go through the match. Pat Patterson wanted me to go through the match. And I said, I can't do that. My God, if we go through this whole match here, and I'm falling down and getting up and taking drop kicks and hooking on top rope and going over, I'm going to get hurt. I mean, I need a crowd. You know, I need the adrenaline. I need a crowd to really make this happen. So, you know, they were cool enough that I didn't have to go through the match, didn't have to take any bumps. But I said, all right, let's walk through this. I got it. So, you know, push comes to shove. We end up in Toronto at Skydome. But before that, we'd shot the angle where I did everything I could to be the most evil person in the world. I mean, I hit The Rock in the head with a hammer. Me, Hall, and Nash put him in the ambulance. We chained the ambulance. I got an 18-wheeler. I crucified him. I ran him over with an 18-wheeler. I backed it up. I ran him over again. You know, of course, we pulled The Rock out, you know, cut the film together. Nobody would have survived that. But we did everything we could to get heat. And we get to Toronto, you know, we're in the dressing room and everything's, I mean, it's one of those electric nights, you know, it's like you can smell it in the air, like The Rock said, Phil Collins. It was one of those electric nights. So, on the way out to the ring, I heard this mixture of turbulence, of energy. It was like, reminded me of WrestleMania 3 when I went out with Andre. The turbulence and the energy was just like, I felt like I was going to come out of my body. My soul was going to come out of my body because it was there. I mean, it was there. And when The Rock and I got in the ring, they were chanting Rocky, Rocky. They were chanting Hogan, Hogan. It was like this crazy split, which I didn't expect because The Rock had the Scorpion King coming out. He was getting the rocket on his back. He was getting this crazy push, you know, which he deserved, of course. Because he made it happen. And all of a sudden, you know, we started looking from side to side, you know. And when we started looking from side to side, I needed just a little bit extra. So when The Rock was looking away and I was looking the other way, I kind of smiled at the crowd, which I don't think he knew. But I just had to get that little extra, you know, because I didn't know, man. I'd been the guy that was odd man out. I'd been away for 10 years. And now this thing is going to be a matchup of all matchups. So all of a sudden, like, when we locked up, you know, just to basically feel where everybody was at, I'm this big, horrible heel. And the more I beat up The Rock and the more I destroy him, the more I just wipe him out. When he comes up and he finally beats me, that means he's really beat a monster. He's really beat an icon. He is really the man. So I was going to do everything I could to gut check him and make sure that he was postured in the right way to move forward to where he needed to go after this match, which was to tear Hollywood. I mean, I cracked the door open for Hollywood, and he kicked the door off the hinges. I'll give him that, man, no doubt. So I just wanted to make sure everything was cool. So all of a sudden, when I gave him the push, you know, I kind of like did what is crossing the line a little bit. I looked at him and I went, you know, whatever you say. I pointed at him. Oh, no, I flexed a couple times, whatever I did, posed, flexed. Then I went, bring it. And as soon as I did that, it wasn't so much stealing his gimmick or making fun of him, because like Scott Hall will do this sometimes, and he does it at the right time. If I was to hulk up and rip my shirt off and get ready to drop leg, and Scott Hall went, ooh, I'm scared, my gimmick would be ruined. And Scott never does that. He makes sure he does it at the right time. And I thought this was the right time to go, just bring it, Rock. And it was. And it really kind of like set it up that this was an even match. This thing was going down. But the weirdest thing was I had a couple broken ribs because 2 weeks before I'd wrestled at the Sundome against Rikishi, and I had my kids in the crowd, and I told Rikishi to reverse the turnbuckle, and I hit. I said, charge me and squash me, but I had Nick and Brooke in the front row, so when Rikishi went to throw me the turnbuckle, he reversed it. When he came to squash me, I hit the buckle. I was looking at my kids, and I forgot he was coming. I didn't get my arms down, and Rikishi's big, and all of a sudden, wham! They were either cracked or hurt or whatever, but I couldn't. It was overwhelming. So I told Vince, and I said, I don't know if I can get through the match, but Vince goes, you're going to get through the match. And I had The Rock there to help me. But once we got in the ring, things kind of were tit for tat. It wasn't good guy versus bad guy, the evil guy versus the hero. It was like mixed. It was so crazy that we had to adjust. That whole walkthrough that we did in Miami had to get readjusted. So as we both started listening, which was just incredible, I was the heel, I was leading the dance, I was leading the match. I've never been in the ring with somebody that adapts so well, so fast. You know, if I said he was the best I'd ever been in the ring with, that would be an understatement. I mean, it's in his blood, basically. So even if I would have misstepped, he would have corrected me, but it was just like this perfect dance. And, you know, when he rock bottomed me the first time, and I kicked out and I hulked up, we really had the fans on the edge of their seat because I kicked out of his finish. And, you know, nobody kicks out of The Rock's finish when he's a babyface. And I started hulking up, and that place was electric. And as I threw the 3 punches, I slowed him down because it sounded like a cannon was going off with 80,000 people, or 75, whatever it was. And this guy was like, boom, I would have thrown another one, but I took my time and boom, boom, you know, and it was just there. I mean, it was there from the beginning to the end. And then he rock bottomed me one time. You can see towards, you know, the last couple rock bottoms when we were going home, you could see rock bottom me once, and I was holding my chest, you know, and I was going, oh my God, I can't take another. He goes, come on, get up, you can do it, you can do it. And he picked me back up, and he rock bottomed me again. I said, oh, thank God I did take another one, because that's where we were going with it. Then he dropped the people's elbow on me, and I don't think he knew, you know, if I was going to kick out or stay down, but I just stayed down because I said, thank God this is over, you know. But when I heard The Rock talk about the match, it was really, really cool because he was spot on. But I just wanted to add my 2 cents in, because from my perspective, I was coming in the underdog. I was coming in the guy that was the odd man out. I'd left the WWF on not the best of terms. And, you know, to have the opportunity to come back for The Rock to work with me was really cool. And everybody just kept asking about WrestleMania 18. So that's kind of like the Reader's Digest version of my view on WrestleMania 18. But I could talk for hours about it because there's all these crazy details, you know, such as when he punched me 1, 2, 3, spit on his hand and hit me, and I went to hook the top rope and go over. I was too far away from the rope. You know, my timing was off a little bit. I was going to go over backwards, but, you know, whatever I did, I fell and went through, or, you know, but just little teeny details that kind of like drove me crazy, that when I watched the match back, it was all organic. It was all okay. It all worked. And, you know, people have asked me, you know, over the years, you know, what was your greatest match? And I keep saying, you know, how do you compare WrestleMania 1 with Mr. T and the rolling the dice? If WrestleMania would have failed at WrestleMania 1, we would have been out of business. How do you compare, you know, WrestleMania 3, Andre the Giant not telling me to finish, not knowing if he was going to kill me in there because he was not in the best of moods, you know, even though I loved him to death and we were friends, I just had no idea where he was coming from in that 94,000 people. How do you compare that stuff to WrestleMania 18? It's hard to compare, but if I had to go back and do one more match, I'd want to work with The Rock again. Andre's not here. Rock's still here. So if we could light it up one more time, could be crazy, but what a match, what a time. WrestleMania 18, I know it was a couple weeks ago. Sorry about not responding, but I didn't think any response was necessary. But with all the people coming at me so strong, I had to say something. So that's my 2 cents worth. Peace out. Love you guys.